Hello everyone, it's Dan here, and welcome back once again to my top 10 best games of the year countdown, where I go through this past year of 2013 and give much needed recognition to some of the games I felt outshone the rest. Now I'd like to point out that this is my personal opinion, and it may differ from your picks. However, without any further ado, let's jump right into it with the very first game. Kicking things off at number 10 on the countdown, The Cave. Releasing in early 2013, The Cave was a game that was just a $15 platformer puzzler. Now, that may sound simple enough, but the best thing about it was indeed the power of the story. You were given the choice to select between 7 very different and very unique characters, and choosing 3 of them per playthrough allowed you to see each of these individual characters' unique story as they try to achieve what they truly desire by entering this mysterious cave that apparently will grant your wishes. Now, the best thing about this game was it had different elements that made it just truly enjoyable. It had a lot of funny moments where the cave itself as a personality would talk to you and, joke with you, and it just narrated the whole sequence of events on its own. Now, as well, each of these unique characters that you played with had their own background, and you discovered more about them and why they sought out the cave and what they truly are aiming to receive. Now, in order to truly experience the cave completely, you'd have to play the game at least 3 times through. Now, for a short $15 game available on arcade platforms, it really isn't that hard to do. For $15, you're getting a great experience with great amounts of gameplay, with some hilarity, actually quite a bit of a hilarity factor in there, but not just that, but an overall great experience in terms of a story mode with insanely unique characters each time through. So for what you're paying for, you're getting an amazing experience, and it's a game that unfortunately probably never really caught on to too many people. I don't think too many people really played it, which is a shame. So I think The Cave deserves way more recognition than it received. So that's why it comes in at number 10 on my countdown. Coming in at number 9 on the countdown, State of Decay. So when I first heard about State of Decay, it was through my fan base. They told me, Dan, you gotta take a look at this game. It looks insane. From the sounds of things, it looks like an amazing game. So I took it upon myself to look into it a little more. And from what I read, it sounded to me just like another survival horror game, another zombie game. That's the last thing I felt like we needed. Those things get pumped out all the time. However, upon playing it, I am insanely happy that I did, because State of Decay is like no other zombie survival horror game I've ever played. The difference between it and other zombie games is that it has a constant gameplay that is completely rolling at all times, meaning you can turn off your console and come back maybe a day later and new events will have happened. Characters are unique, you're constantly exploring a huge open world that gives you just unbelievably entertaining and addicting gameplay. Now, your characters all have their own story, but at the same time are all equally vulnerable to an attack. It's up to you to decide how you want to save your character. For example, if your main character dies, he's gone. There's no getting him back. That's how it is. Too bad. And not just that, but the weapon system, the exploring system, the style, for once, it was one of the first zombie games I mentioned, actually, that truly was a zombie game where people were like, oh no, zombies. They actually said zombies. They're like, these are zombies, And the whole idea behind it, it was just so addicting. I cannot explain it any further than that. It was something that actually got overlooked. I'll bet you a lot of people never played this game, especially since it was originally launched for Xbox 360 only. Now, upon saying that, it is now available on PC and Steam. So if you missed it and that was your reasoning, there's no reason why you shouldn't pick it up today. I think it remains one of the most entertaining zombie games I've ever played, with the fact that you can, drive vehicles, and obviously that's not something that's insanely unique, but the fact that you can drive vehicles, park them, like the whole realism is what got me. Now, the only thing that's preventing it from getting any higher on the list is it does get a little repetitive. Yes, it does. And the story is a little slow to progress. Sometimes you have to do some missions that you do over and over. They're very similar. But despite all that, it is a truly solid game for a relatively low price tag, and really you cannot lose with this game, which is why State of Decay comes in at number 9 on my countdown. Coming in at number 8 on the countdown, Forza Motorsport 5. I know what some of you are probably thinking about this. Dan, why post a racing game? They're all the same. Well, you know what? It's funny about Forza 5, because I was originally not going to play it, and I was actually not a huge fan of it in the past. I never really played many Forza games before. However, I found out a few things about Forza that I really loved. I saw some gameplay. I finally looked into it. I found out that the Top Gear guys were going to be in it, and I love Top Gear. And as a petrol head, I felt I had to go out and get this game. And you know, I'm glad I did. It takes beautiful cars. It takes realistic styles. It takes realistic controls. And it puts you in a simulation game, not just a racing game, a simulation game of what it's like to actually race in these insanely detailed vehicles. And like I said, being such an automotive fanatic, I had a much higher interest in this game. Now, the good things about this game, it's got a lot of replay value. There's so much to do. The single player alone is one of the most lengthy career modes I've ever seen. I don't even think I managed to finish it. I mean, I got most of it done, but as a matter of, you know, it's just, there's too much content in it to fully cover. And, you know, the whole sound, the fact that you can, like the showcase option where you can look at the car and how detailed it is, and all these little challenge modes, online play, it all comes together in one great racing package. And being so realistic, it does actually bring you into the game. It makes you feel like you're actually in it. And the only way you can make it any better is if you actually get yourself one of those insane cockpits with a racing seat, a shifter with clutch and gas and brake pedals, the whole works, steering wheel, even some of them have paddle shifts. It's insane. I think with that you'll get the full experience, and I would have liked to get that, but unfortunately sometimes you just gotta understand you can't have it all. But for that reason, that being so realistic, I played this game for so long, that's why it comes in at number 8 on my countdown. If you're a racing fan, definitely go out and get this one. Coming in at number 7 on the countdown, Outlast. It seems that indie games are making a huge mark on the gaming community, and Outlast certainly is not an exception. It is a survival horror game. Of course, when you hear that, you think, oh great, another survival horror game. Seems to be one of the most popular genres out there at the moment. But this one is unique. It truly terrifies you. It's a game that I recorded a face cam with it and everything. My reactions were fantastic. There's been insane fear throughout the entire game. And it's not just any type of fear. Instead of like crazy monsters and zombies, it's realistic, which is probably what makes it so damn scary. The fact that you're thrown into an insane asylum, you have a journalist, you're following a journalist, and all he has as a weapon is his digital camera to see. He can't fight back, which adds an insane amount of terror to the game. And when you have all these lunatics that are thrown into you and they're constantly trying to hunt you down and they terrorize you the whole time, it truly affects your brain a little bit too when you're thinking about it. You're coming across seeing some really insanely messed up stuff that you just can't wrap your head around. Brutal environments, brutal characters, brutal deaths. It's an unbelievably good game for a low price, and I can't believe that games like this aren't getting as much attention as I feel they deserve. Outlast, I had so much fun. Like, it wasn't that long of a game, I'll admit, but it was worth the price tag in my opinion for the amount of entertainment I got from it. From the amount of real terror I got from it, it was one of the greatest survival horror games I've played in a long time, and I can't reiterate that enough. If you didn't go out and play Outlast, if you didn't see someone go play Outlast, honestly, you could probably play this game yourself, watch someone else, and you'll get a whole different entertainment factor each time you see it, which is why Outlast comes in at number 7 on my countdown. Coming in at number 6 on the countdown, Tomb Raider. Now, a lot of people were rather surprised when they played Tomb Raider this year in 2013. It was a redone version of the original series, and it kind of took it into a different direction. Now, it wasn't so much based on Lara being insanely good at raiding tombs, it was kind of like her introduction to it. It was the start of things, how she became the legendary Tomb Raider. And the best part about this one was, once again, we're going along this path, it was realistic. Lara and her crew get marooned on an island, and she's forced to learn how to survive, learn how to cope in these environments that she's not familiar with. You know, she starts on her adventure in finding treasure, but there's just way more reward when you complete something. The tombs aren't ridiculously overdrawn and overdone. You know, you get a puzzle in each tomb, but they're not the main focus. So for those of the people who do love the puzzle tomb raiding aspect of Tomb Raider, you still have it in this game. But instead, as well, you get a huge open world factor with a great storyline with a very realistic Lara Croft. Now, being a guy, of course I love titties and ass, but Lara is a realistic girl. She looks real. She looks like a girl who actually has been marooned. It makes sense. And the plot of the story makes sense. And it's something that some of the Tomb Raiders in the past were lacking. I know some people may not agree with me on that standpoint, but let's be honest. Tomb Raiders, the fact that she's so insanely gifted and talented with the guns, you know, acrobatics, what have you, it was obviously just a place setter. You know, it was something just for guys to enjoy. This game, anyone can enjoy. You know, anyone can appreciate how the game is, the survival aspect, the open world environment, the gameplay, the controls. It all comes together in a fantastic package, and I enjoyed myself very thoroughly with Tomb Raider. Definitely a must play of 2013. At the halfway mark on the countdown at number 5, Beyond Two Souls. Now, I'm sure a few people might disagree with my pick here for number 5, but you know what? It's no secret that I love Quantic Dream. They make some of the best story-driven games on the market today. And when I found out they were going to release a new game coming out in 2013, you know I had to pick up my PlayStation 3 and play it. Now, the difference between this and past Quantic Dream games, it follows a different style. It has the makings of an amazing story. However, the idea behind it is so unique. It's confusing at first, and you just don't understand it. But the more you play it, the more you understand the game, and it's given you a different way of thinking. And it affects you emotionally in many different ways. And the fact that you can control the outcome of the game is always an amazing factor from my point. I like to be the one to control the outcome of a game and not have a specific ending. Whereas, I could have a certain way of playing the game, someone else can have a certain way of playing a game. There's so many different routes to take. There's so many different ways you can go about to complete your goal. Whether you do it perfectly, whether you do it terribly, it affects the game and its outcome. You may find people you like. You may lose them because you messed up. You may choose different paths. You may go with different people. It's always changing. And the story behind Beyond Two Souls is very unique. And it's insanely good. Like, it makes you want to keep playing the game. I played it, like, from start to finish almost in one day. Like, I was just addicted to the game. It was so insanely good. It had an amazing storyline. Although, for people who are very action-based, you may not necessarily get that here. It's, again, a quick-time-based game. But the thought behind it is to complete it in your own style. And I felt I did that. I was in control of a movie. That's what I felt. And I like those kind of games. They may not be a video game to some people, but it's an interactive story. And those are some of my favorites. Those are so good. They're really in touch with the player. And that's why Beyond Two Souls comes in at number 5 on the countdown. Coming in at number 4 on the countdown, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Alright, here we go. I know I'm going to hear something from this. Now, for a long time, for the past, I don't know how many years, we've been getting dull, repetitive, annoying Assassin's Creed games. And they've just been like Call of Duty and Battlefield to me, you know? Repetitive, just thrown out things just to make a huge buck every single year, because you sometimes have people who just are so dedicated to the franchise, it doesn't matter the quality of the game anymore. And you know what? Assassin's Creed was a great idea. It started out, Assassin's Creed 1, it set the grounds. Assassin's Creed 2 was one of the best Assassin's Creeds ever made, in my opinion. But then after that, you got like pushed out games that seemed rushed, and they seemed boring. And they weren't, you wouldn't miss anything if you played them. Assassin's Creed 4, however, went back to its original roots and gave me an amazing ride. It combined the good elements, the cool ship controlling elements from Assassin's Creed 3, which was one of the really only good elements in my opinion, gave it an interesting character and an interesting story that I was not expecting. For once, you played as someone that was totally a rebel, and he did what he wanted and wasn't officially inducted into the order. He was a pirate. The whole fact of playing as a pirate was insanely fun. Plundering ships, I did that for hours. And you know what? I could go back and keep plundering ships, taking on bigger, stronger ships, upgrading my own ship, and just going from there. And of course, you do have the famous Assassin's Creed stories, which usually are quite good, but at the same time are dull and repetitive. This one was an exception, and I'm really happy with that, which is why it's so high up in the countdown. It brings back Assassin's Creed 2 styles. The size of the map is huge. The ability to free roam throughout the entire place is its own reward. Plundering ships, amazing aspect, and the story was really good with interesting characters throughout, instead of pushed out, rushed crap that we get every year, like from Call of Duty. And I'm so glad that Ubisoft took this in this direction, because it is a must-see, it's a must-play. And coming from me, being tired of Assassin's Creed games getting rushed out, you guys have to go out and play this. If you haven't played this, you have to do it. It is so much fun. You will love it. Take it from me, which was why it comes in at number 4 on my countdown. Making the podium at number 3 on the countdown, BioShock Infinite. People can't be surprised this is ranked this high on the countdown. I mean, BioShock Infinite was a completely refreshing game to me. You know, I've played past BioShocks, and BioShock 1, amazing. BioShock 2 dropped the ball. So, that was in my opinion, of course. Now, when I picked up this game, it was a completely different direction. It was in a different environment. It followed different characters, which is probably what the franchise needed most. Now, the difference between this and the past BioShock games, again, this game is going back to its roots, like from BioShock 1, giving you an amazing story experience, touching your emotions, giving you some choices. The gameplay itself, the combat, is really well done. And the whole idea behind tears in the environment, you know, Elizabeth's entire interaction with you, the whole emotional aspect, and finally figuring out why the game is called Infinite. The ending, I'm not going to spoil it, of course, is insanely smart, and it's insanely, like, oh my god, mind-blowing. You just don't know what to make of it. And when you think of that, it makes you question the entire BioShock universe. Like, what really happened with that universe? Because, again, I can't reveal it, but it makes you question everything that has happened. And depending how you play, of course, it'll affect you in a different way. Now, BioShock Infinite definitely deserves this spot on the countdown for its insanely good gameplay, great story, and the fact that it captures the audience very, very well. And that, to me, is one of the best factors of a video game today. It's not so much gameplay. Well, gameplay does help, of course, but story is what I really look for in a video game. If you have a really good story, you could really capture me and engross me into this game. And this is one of those games you cannot miss. You have to play BioShock Infinite. It does the series a world of good. It looks fantastic. It touches on some serious and very, controversial events in a time when, well, racism was huge, Everything is questioned, and you have to try this game out. I really recommend you go check it out if you haven't. So this one proudly put it in my top 3 as best game of the year. You have to... Okay, the runner-up, number 2 on the countdown, The Last of Us. I'm sure you guys aren't surprised that this is at least number 2 on the countdown. The Last of Us, I can't tell you the amount of quality that is in this game. The storyline alone is one of the most engrossing stories I've ever played in a long time. Again, this game grabs your emotions, throws it into a blender, and basically whatever comes out is what you don't know. It's just insane. There's so many different emotional twists. The gameplay itself of survival is there. It's realistic. You actually develop a relationship, and you develop care, and you for the characters you play as. You worry for them. You actually are pulled that much into the game. You are shown critical decisions. You are shown critical events that pull you further into the story of The Last of Us. And when you are given a world of nothing, apocalypse, the intro alone, if you guys watch the intro of this game, oh my god, shits are given in your pants, okay? There's so much that happens in the first intro. You're not given a gradual introduction into a game. You're given a shit storm right from the get-go. And it is insanely relevant to the story later on. It makes you realize how important it is to develop a relationship, how important it is to trust in people, and how important it is not to trust in people. You don't know what you're expecting. The fact that you're in control of a man who feels like he's looking after his own daughter, when in reality they're more so friends than anything. But the fact that the relationship grows on top of all the events, that you can't help see a father-daughter relationship bloom, especially the events of the intro. But you know what? I cannot explain. This is a game that Naughty Dog just totally made. I can't even find words for it. It is an amazing title. I am so happy to have played it. Now, upon playing the demo, though, I would like to say I didn't understand where the hype was coming from. But the full game is what really captures you. Trust me, if you do not play this game, you skip out on it, it's a shame. Because you have other games out there like Call of Duty that I feel are shovelware, and they're just not, they don't even hold anything against games like The Last of Us. And the story alone, I love, like I said just before, the story-based games are what really capture me, and The Last of Us did it brilliantly. It is a masterpiece of a story, and you guys have to play this one. Number 2 on my countdown. And finally, the winner of Best Game of the Year, number 1, the gold medal, Grand Theft Auto 5. It can't be a surprise to anyone that this game made number 1 on my countdown. It is probably the best game I've played in a long time. The amount of value and effort and money put into this game is mind-boggling. You guys have no idea. You probably do, because you probably played it. But the amount of quality in this game is just beyond anything I've ever played before. The fact that you're given instead, I mean, Grand Theft Auto, okay, let's look at the past. Grand Theft Auto games in the past haven't been insanely good. Like, GTA 4, I didn't really, it was kind of dull for me. It felt like wasn't really in touch with the story. But the characters in this game are easy to love, especially Trevor, in my opinion. He's one of those ones you hate to love. But each of them have their own side. The fact that you play as 3 characters is a first for GTA. The size of the map, the biggest map I've seen in a long time. You could play this game for hours and not get bored. Not to mention the online surface, GTA Online. While it had a rocky start at the beginning, one of the most entertaining online modes I've played ever. Being with your friends, just going to friends, doing random stuff, whether you try to do missions, whether you try to just goof around, whatever you try to do. There's so much fun to be had in Grand Theft Auto 5. The production value is truly shown in this type of game. And you guys would be crazy not to play it. I mean, it is the best Grand Theft Auto game ever. I love this game. And you know what? I will go back. I feel like I need to go back and play more of it. I need more GTA 5. And I'm sure everyone who's watching this already played this, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. But this game is insane. I cannot express it. I know I sound like an idiot right now, but it's true. The graphical quality even is beautiful, considering it's on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. The gameplay is really, really good. The story for each character is unique and very fun, with a lot of activities to do. The fact that you can shop, you know, all the different vehicles in the game. There's so much crazy things you can do. Like, for example, what I did on my GTA Online. We hopped the fence, we got inside the army base with a bunch of friends, and we stole Harriers with a guy crying in the background. You don't get that kind of stuff. You don't get that kind of stuff in any other game. So I am proud, I am honored to put this game as #1. Give it the gold, give it the glory. #1, Grand Theft Auto 5 on my countdown. Wow, what a game, guys. What a game. Alright, that wraps up my top 10 best games of 2013. It's been an amazing year. I've had a lot of support from you guys, and I appreciate every single one of you for coming around, stopping by for whatever piece of content that you like to watch. It's been an amazing year. Bumps here and there, of course, but what kind of a year would it be with nothing but perfection? You know, everything that's good has flaws. And let's be honest, my channel is nowhere near perfect, but it's nowhere near shit. But at any rate, I do appreciate every single one of you for joining me this year. It's been a wonderful ride. We had some amazing games, as you guys have seen this past year, and I can't wait for 2014. So thanks so much once again, guys. Please don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to favorite it as well. If you don't agree with me, or if you agree with me, let me know in the comments. I want to hear your guys' voice in this. And you know what? I hope you guys stick around. We're going to have a bigger year than ever in 2014, I feel. We'll pull out all the stops in this one, because I've gained a huge fan base since this past year alone, and it's been so much fun. And I'll continue to do this as long as I can, I promise you. So thanks so much, guys. Take it easy, have a good one, and we'll see you very soon. I got more tricks up my sleeve. So thanks, guys. Have a good one.